Joining me today, a very special interview with one of the members of Team Guardian who was able to connect with us via satellite phone from the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Mark Pfetzer is joining us from Team Guardian on the boat, of course. And Mark, thank you for calling in.
Sure. Thanks for having us and letting us share what we're doing.
You bet. Very exciting. Of course, you guys have been on the ocean since December 15th, and hopefully the end is getting closer. I know you're more than halfway through, so that's got to be exciting for you and the team.
We are, yeah. Actually, December 12th we started.
I'm sorry, you're right.
No, that's right. I'm going to throw it in there because we worked hard for those 3 days.
You really did.
But, yes. We've been on since December 12th. We are more than 2/3 of the way there. As a matter of fact, I can tell you we are, according to my GPS right now, at the exact moment, we are 848 miles from the finish line.
Okay.
So, pretty exciting. Yesterday we crossed that 2/3 mark, that we were 2/3 down, and yeah, it's been quite the adventure. We've been prepping for this for a long time, but so in our mind we kind of have an idea of what to expect, but you really don't know until you get out here, and it's been pretty amazing.
Right. I can certainly understand. We have been watching your progress on the app, of course, with all the other boats that are in the race, and you're making your way over. And I know you've told us many times you guys weren't in it maybe necessarily for speed, but just to complete the race. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. It's kind of funny because that's always been our goal. We weren't racing. We were doing the race to raise awareness, for first responder mental wellness for the Four Corners. But I will tell you, there always, at least with us, there's always a competitive side that comes out, and so you do get around these other boats, and of course if you've been tracking the app, you've seen some have passed us, and we were doing really good early on. Holding, I think, third, maybe even second at one point in our division. But then we started getting passed by other boats, and, we had to remind ourselves we're not racing, and it's easy to fall into that trap, but it's just not it's not how we set our boat up to race. It's not how we train to race. So bring ourselves back to reality on that and remind ourselves of the cause and why we're doing this, and we're all agreeable on that.
Good. Well, that's important. And I know there have been a few teams that have already arrived in Antigua, and I know you guys are going to be there soon, of course. And I think the latest report I heard from one of your wives was that maybe you'd be arriving a couple days early, perhaps. Is that still what you're thinking?
I don't think we'll be early from our original date we wanted. We were looking at January 26th. I think we were always at 45 to 50 days.
Okay.
Right now, I think we're closer to that 50-day mark, right around January 31st or so. Again, just a matter of, the ocean that we're in, the part of where we are, the currents we're facing, the wind. We've had some really good days of some really good winds and currents, and I think one day we put 70 miles on, and then we've had some days we're only able to put 40 miles on, and so just when you average it out, it looks like it'll probably be closer to that 50-day mark. So
understood. Well, let me ask you about the conditions, because I know we talked a lot when you were here training about how you were training and what you were preparing for, and so can you give me some idea of what the conditions have been? I know you've had some big seas, some big swells, and was it stuff that you were expecting, or did the ocean throw some things you weren't expecting at you? What have the conditions been like besides the good days?
Yeah, I think the first probably third of the race, as we left La Gomera and went south, really, it was pretty rough seas. I mean, we got into some big swells. It took a lot of waves over the side of the boat, which is, that happens. So we would totally get swamped. Of course, the boat just drains out. It's made to take waves like that and drain out. Or, a wave would hit us and kind of knock us, not all the way on our side, but probably pretty close to our side. That was new to us. And then, since we've kind of turned west, the seas have flattened out a little bit, which in one respect is nice. You're not getting tossed around as much, although you're constantly getting tossed around on this boat. But you lose your speeds, right? The bigger the seas, the more speed you have. I think as far as something we really weren't expecting or didn't, prepare for, we get these. Rowing along, and a lot of times it happens at night. We row all night long, and it's, we've had no moon, so it's been pitch black. We've had, right now it's a good moon, but it doesn't come up so late, so it's pitch black the first half of the night. And you're rowing along just fine, and then all of a sudden, this large current swell hits you from the side, and it just rocks the boat side to side. Knock you out of your seat. It comes quick, and then it's gone. And it happened frequent enough. They don't necessarily splash us. Sometimes they do. But it really just rocks the boat side to side. And that was something, it's rather annoying when it happens because you're all settled in your seat, you're going along, and now all of a sudden you're out of your seat and you've got to get reconfigured.
Right.
So,
and you can't see them coming, can you? If it's in the middle of the dark of night, right?
Yeah, no, you can't see them coming. Sometimes you hear them. They come really fast. They're like little, I don't know how to describe them. It's like a bowling ball coming at you. So sometimes you can hear it coming. And then, but yeah, you really can't see them. So, and again, more of a nuisance than anything. Nothing scary, not worried about, it rolling the boat over or anything. Just more of a nuisance when you're in a groove rowing and, trying to make forward progress and this thing, knocks you over sideways.
Right. We've talked a little bit about the.
Kind of been, go ahead.
No, please finish.
I was just going to say that's kind of been about the conditions that we've seen. I'll be honest, it has never been so calm that we felt really comfortable getting in the water to clean the boat. One time, Mike jumped in to clean the bottom of the boat. That was a couple weeks ago, and it really wasn't even that calm then. But that's probably one of the calmest days we've had. Other than that, there's always a bit of a chop and a swell going that it's like, we'll see if it gets a little bit calmer to jump in again to clean the boat. Just because you get pushed into the boat gets pushed into you. It really makes it difficult. So, but that is something we need to do is get in. Things grow on the bottom of the boat. We're going slow enough that things will start growing. Sea creatures. So we'll go down and scrape all that off.
Got you. And that is something that you really kind of need to do at least at one point during the trip, right? Or if not, several times.
Yeah, several times. Try to do it about once a week. But again, we've only been able to do it once.
I see.
Only because it's been rough enough that we don't feel, where we've been, we don't feel comfortable enough jumping in with the seas as rough as they are. So.
Sure. We've heard about one team that did get, I guess, swamped, right? And they got and they had to pull out of the race. And I know that's always a concern, right? But the boats are designed to self-right and help you get back on where you're supposed to be. Is that anything that you've run into? I know the boat's been hit at least once that we heard that maybe you guys were tossed out, but you're all tethered to the boat, so there's never really a danger of that. But any close calls like that?
And just to clarify, I don't want listeners to think differently. We were never tossed out of the boat, just tossed to the side. The safety guards on the side of the boat, you hit those. And surely if those weren't there, we probably would have been swimming, but you're right, we always stay tethered in.
Okay.
So just so everyone's aware of that. It was unfortunate that the U.S. team, so they took, from what I understand, they took not a rowway, but they took a wave sideways, they capsized the boat, and they weren't able to get it righted. Boats are designed, and their boat they were in is also designed to self-right. Now, they're in a different design boat, a different, make and manufacturer. Actually, their boat that capsized is the first ocean rowing boat Jared and I ever stepped on. We went and visited them in Colorado one time and got to check out their boat. But so we've had nothing like that worried about capsizing our boat or even knocking it over. I do believe the boat we're in, the Rannoch, is a superior design than the other. It has more of a proven track record. And so, that's one of the safety things we looked at when we were, looking to get a boat is, which one's going to be the safest to get us across as well. So that's why. So nothing like that for us. We did hear the other day they made it. They at least made it back to, I think a cargo ship picked them up. And they got to Canada here yesterday or day before. So
right. And of course, we've talked about too that the boats were inspected. There's a lot of standards that you have to meet for this challenge that you guys are in, and so all that was taken care of at La Gomera before you even took off from the dock. So I know there's certainly a lot of oversight in this competition and this challenge, basically, right before you even got your feet wet.
Oh yeah, we had inspections before we even left the United States. We did over Zoom. And all of our stuff and our equipment, and of course the courses we had to take. And our boat was late getting to La Gomera. We were there probably a week without our boat because there was a holdup with shipping, and some paperwork got accidentally sent to the wrong place, and then it got delayed getting sent back to where it needed to be. So, luckily we were squared away enough, before we left that it didn't take us. We were, I think, within 24 hours. We had our boat ready, inspected, and in the water. So, that was a lot of our hard work on the front end prevented any problems there.
Right. Very good. I'm talking with Mark Pfetzer. He is one of the members of Team Guardian, of course. He is speaking to me through some remarkable technology from his location in the Atlantic Ocean as he and the rest of the team are rowing their way 3,000 miles to Antigua, and their arrival will be later on this month, of course, and we've been following it since you guys left La Gomera in the Canary Islands, and we're just so excited that you're able to speak with me. And the other two guys, can you give us kind of just a vision of what the boat is like? You're on your breaks, you're able to talk to me, and what are the other two guys doing?
They're both rowing right now, so how we work it is, there's a couple different schedules we looked at doing, and what we decided as a team to start with, and basically what we're staying with the whole time, is you row for 2 hours and then you're off for an hour. And so every hour, though, somebody new is getting on the oars. So for instance, this last couple hours, I rowed for an hour with Mike, then Mike got off for his hour break. Jared came on for an hour, and then I'm now on my hour break, and Mike came back to the oars, so now Mike and Jared are rowing, and then I'll relieve Jared here at the top of the next hour, and he'll go, he'll take his hour break. So 2 hours on, 1 hour off. We row, each of us row with each other all day long. Really, we're just rotating who's in those seats.
Got it.
At nighttime, we do have a 4-hour break at night that, we have solo rowers for a few hours. I think 6 hours total. We have somebody solo rowing. So I'll do 2 hours. Jared will do 2 hours. Mike will do 2 hours solo. And, that's nice, too. It's the middle of the night. It's dark. Not a lot of distractions. It's a good time to give thought, thinking, get some thinking done and recap. Or if you're just really tired, then put some good music on and just row your heart away.
Right. And that schedule's been working out okay, those 4-hour breaks for sleeping for all of you guys for the last month or so?
Yeah, we really adjusted to the 4-hour breaks. It's kind of funny, actually. Each one of us, because our other breaks are only an hour, and sometimes, at least when it's dark out, we lay down for that hour. We go in our cabin and lay down. And, you may only get a 20-minute nap by the time, you take care of everything you need to, get your nap, and then get up in enough time to get your clothes back on, get harnessed up, and get out on deck. But every one of us on our 4-hour breaks, you wake up an hour in, worried that you're late for your row shift, and you're looking for your clock, and you're kind of in where am I? Okay, I know I got more time. Or you open the door ready to come out, and the guy on deck tells you, you still got 2 hours. I mean, that's a great thing to be told when you're tired. But it's been working out for us. and it puts two guys on the oars for the longest amount of time as a 3-person team. So we've been good with it. One of the concerns I have, and they tell this to the family, is that when we get back, when the rowers get done with this, oftentimes they don't sleep very well, and they wake up panicked, thinking they need to be somewhere. And so I hope that passes quickly if I experience that.
Right. Understood. Let me ask you how the food supply is working out. Everything still in good shape? You got enough snacks? You got enough food that you guys have packed for the trip?
Yeah, we first, one of the great things, none of us got seasick. A lot of the teams get seasick the first week or so. None of us got seasick at all, which is nice. Appetite, early on, Jared lost his appetite a little bit, and they say that's normal. He was hungry, but just nothing, it didn't sound good to eat. And there's a couple of things. Mike's, I know Mike struggled with some of the food he liked on shore. He doesn't like the taste of out here at sea. But we have enough food to get by, and we've done some food swapping. Me personally, I've had a raging appetite the entire trip, and I can eat really anything. And so any of these snacks these guys don't want because they don't taste good, I say, give it to me, I'll eat it. And you can eat whatever. So that's been really good. But yeah, the food situation's working out well. I am bummed. I just finished my last bag of green chili today. I brought freeze-dried green chili.
Well, that's
my meal.
I guess that's some incentive to get to the finish line.
Yeah, I gotta get there quicker.
Right.
Ran out today.
What's on the list? What's on your guys' list when you get to Antigua? What are you craving besides maybe? I think your wife said maybe dry clothes, and maybe a hamburger. I'm not sure, but what are you looking forward to once you arrive?
I think all of us, of course, showers. We're going to see our family, and you're right. Some dry clothes is drying things out. Food-wise, though, I think anything. We're all kind of in agreement. Some fresh food, like a salad, some fruit, vegetables, anything like that is kind of fresh would be wonderful, and maybe something cold to drink. Our water is cool, but it's not cold by any means. And when it sits in your water bottles on deck all day, it's just warming up. So we drink a lot of water, but we drink a lot of warm water.
Right. We've seen some pictures of you guys all bundled up in some jackets, and other pictures of you in some T-shirts. I know the weather was maybe a little cooler at the beginning of the trip. Is that how it's working? And as you got closer to the equator, it's kind of warmed up. Is that what the weather's been like?
It's warmed up some. I'll be honest. We still wear our jackets at night. It's still cool enough at nighttime, that we're wearing our jackets. And early on, yes, it was chilly, and during the day it's pretty warm. Especially you come in your cabin, on the time off, your hour off, but during the day you really can't sit in here. It's too hot. I mean, it's well over 100 degrees in these cabins. So you end up going on deck because there's a breeze on deck. So at least, you have a little bit of a breeze. One of the things of wearing the jackets, too, especially at nighttime, is you'll get a wave that splashes you, and it'll just totally drench you. If you don't have your jacket on, now your clothes are completely wet, and you get chilled pretty quick. At least if you have our heavy rain jackets on, that keeps us dry, our upper bodies dry where we can stay warm. Because it's colder than we've all experienced that. It's a lot colder than what we thought it was going to be at nighttime.
Interesting. And other than that, though, any rain or anything else that's impacted the trip, or just what you were expecting?
No, we had our first bout of rain. Really, our first good bout of rain was a couple of days ago. We got hit with it pretty hard. They're like these 5 to 10 minute squalls. They come in, it dumps like rain as hard as you can imagine, and then it clears up. So we've had a couple of those. We knew those were coming. The person watching the weather for us told us about that. And but today's been wonderful. And for the most part, everything's been nice and sunny, which is good because we have to charge our batteries through our solar panels, so we need bright sun. And So yeah, everything's been good on that front with no nasty storms or anything like that.
Well, that is good, and I guess that's how you're able to talk to me, right? Is through, are you using a satellite phone, or how are you able to communicate with me today?
Yeah, I'm using it's a Iridium satellite telephone. We've got a couple of them on board, and so we've been able to reach out and talk to different people.
Sure.
Of course, we have our phone on every day. About every 3 or 4 days, we'll get a phone call from the safety coordinator for the race. They call and check in on us. They just called today, make sure we're all doing good, make sure the boat's doing good, make sure there's nothing we need, and we can call them, of course, if we need something as well. But then we're able to make calls home or whatever, and that really helps lift the spirits. I mean, there's times on trips like this where you have your high moments and your low moments, and it's nice on those lows to be able to call home and hear a familiar voice reassure you that what we're doing is good. So
Right. Well, sure. And from talking to your wife, I think the families appreciate you guys calling back in as well, for sure.
yes, definitely. We talked about that the other day, thinking of the early this race started, I think, 25 years ago, and I'm sure back then the technology wasn't, the phone I'm using right now is the size of a cell phone, and I'm sure the satellite phone technology back then wasn't capable of being put on an ocean rowboat to pick out, and so a little bit different now, and a luxury we have that we really enjoy.
Right. Very much so. And so, Mark, we just have a couple of minutes remaining this morning with your time, of course, and I really appreciate you reaching out and being able to talk with us and update our audiences as to how everyone's doing. I mean, you sound good. The other guys doing okay, able to communicate with their families as well from time to time during their breaks.
Yeah, everybody's doing good. Some of the big areas that people struggle with are their hands. They'll get really bad. They won't take care of their hands. Of course, our hands are now all calloused up, and nobody has any problems with their hands. Your bum gets rather sore from sitting in a seat for as many hours as we do rowing, and so, but we got one guy with more of a sore bottom than the rest of us. But other than that, everybody's doing good there. I mean, we're all still able to sit. There are rowers we've heard of in the past that haven't been able to row because they can't sit down. It's gotten so bad.
Wow.
If you think of like a diaper rash type thing, from the
Sure.
dampness, the water spraying you, the sweating. So, and then your stomach and food. And again, we've all been good there. So everybody's doing good. We lift each other up when we see the other guys maybe struggling, and it's been a couple times when somebody looks so tired that it's like, hey, take an extra 30 minutes on your break and I'll cover for you. Because we're not racing, we can do stuff like that, and it's not detrimental to the success of our mission here.
Sure. Well, and you got a good team then. If you got each other looking out for one another, that's great to hear. And I wanted to ask you a bit about equipment and other stuff. We've heard, you've had to replace maybe some of the rollers on the seats, and that was a planned thing. I think that's one of the things that kind of wear out because you're using them all day, every day. Some teams have had oars break. I don't think that's happened for you guys, but is the rest of your equipment kind of holding up at least as well as to be expected?
It is. The bearings in the seat was unexpected, to be honest. They gave out so early on. I think I don't know if we got a bad batch of bearings or if we got just the wrong bearings. But we've been limping those through. Matter of fact, just today, about every 2 or 3 days, I oil them up to make sure to try to help keep the water out of them. And we've only had to replace one more bearing. We do have spares with us. We have to. So I think I've replaced 3 total. Expected, but not as quick as those went. We had one minor electronic show with what's called our AIS, it's our Automatic Information System. And what that is I have a screen in front of me that shows my boat in the ocean, And if there's other boats near me, it shows those boats, and I can click on those boats, and it tells me who they are, their name, and it'll tell us if we're on a collision course. And this is widely used in the marine world, maritime world. And so I had a minor issue with that early on, but we were able to do some troubleshooting on it, and I believe we have it fixed. Other than that, everything's been working great. Knock on wood, or fiberglass.
Right.
Fiberglass here, not wood.
That's all right.
Everything's been going great. Personal equipment's holding up. We've just been enjoying it. We've seen some wildlife. I think maybe we shared some photos on our social media of the wildlife, some of the whales we saw yesterday. I believe the days kind of meshed together. Yesterday we had a marlin following us for a while. We've had a couple of those. We had a shark one day following us, and a lot of seabirds out here. And I wasn't expecting that. The whole trip we've seen seabirds, as far away from land as you can be.
Right.
And these birds are just flying around, multiple, different varieties, and they're just flying around.
Interesting. And yeah, it's amazing to wonder where they are coming from or going to, right? Any other boats? I mean, I know from the map, it kind of looks like you're near some of even the other boats in the challenge, but when you're out on the open water like that, is there times when you just look out at the horizon and see just water?
That's all you see.
Is it?
Water. Other than the first day when we left La Gomera, we saw a couple boats, the first day. We saw one boat after that, a couple weeks in, one rowboat, and the only other boats we've seen have been other boats, not rowboats. We've had tankers, tanker ships go by us. And not a lot. I mean, 2 or 3. We had some large vessel go by us. I don't know what kind of ship it was. The other night we had a sailboat coming up on us. And that's where that AIS system I told you comes in handy, because then you get on the radio and you call the other boat. And for us, that's really important, because a cargo ship is huge. We're tiny, and we don't really have a way to maneuver quickly. And so we can get on the radio and say, call that ship. Say, this is who we are. This is how far we are from you. Do you see us? And typically they do. They say, yes, we see you. And say, we're a rowboat. We can't maneuver, so let us know, if we need to make any adjustments to avoid a collision. So we do get on the radio. I talked to a sailboat the other night. He was on his way to French Martinique, I believe, which is also in the Caribbean. And so those are the only other boats we've seen.
Gotcha. And of course, that's important, as you mentioned. If that unit wasn't up and running, right, they wouldn't be able to necessarily see you in your location on the water.
Correct. Yeah. So it was important for us to get it back up and running. I mean, it wouldn't, if it broke down, it wouldn't pull us out of the race, but it is a safety feature that's nice to have there. And we have handy on, very right inside the cabin doors, flares, anti-collision flares, that if something happened, they didn't see us, we could light an anti-collision flare they could really see us. But I don't foresee us needing those. I hope.
Right. No,
everything's up and working now.
Good to know. And so Mark, just one final question, I guess, would be, as you get closer, what's the plan for when you come into to the finish line? I would assume we've seen pictures of some folks that have lit those flares as they come into dock at the finish line. Since you haven't used them, I guess you could use them for that.
Yeah, we'll do. I think everybody gets to light their flares off. We have actually a whole bag of flares. So we'll light the flares off. We're looking forward. I think they do some photos, your official time,
of course,
and then I think they do a hamburger right away. And then of course I think the main thing, though, more important to me than any of that, will be seeing my wife and friends and family who have come out to the finish line.
You bet. Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining me today on your break. That's valuable time, I know, and I appreciate that you spent at least part of it talking to me, and we hope you all continue to row strong and be safe. And we look forward to seeing you guys at the finish line, both you and Michael and Jared, and our best to all three of you.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. We appreciate it. And if you don't mind me just adding in, I always like to, to remind everybody, the row is amazing, and it's an experience for us, and lessons in resiliency and determination, but just a reminder of why we're rowing for, our local first responders and their mental wellness and suicide prevention, and just that, for those first responders and the families of first responders to know, there's help out there if somebody needs help or is in need of assistance. There's resources out there. Nobody has to go through that alone, and all of it is, you can overcome any of it. So as long as we never lose track of the reason we're doing this row.
Indeed. And again, the website, row3000.com.
Yes, sir. Row3000.com. We've got some information on, of course, the race and us. We'll load up when we get back. We'll load more photos on there. Also, our social media, Facebook and Instagram are both Guardian initiatives.
Exactly. There you go. And we'll share all that too. So, Mark, thank you very much once again. Really appreciate the time. And stay safe, stay well, and we'll talk to you again soon. If not, we'll see you when you hit the finish line.
Sounds great. Thank you, Scott.
All right. Thank you very much. That is Mark Pfetzer. He is with Team Guardian, speaking to us from the Atlantic Ocean on his way to the finish line with the rest of his team. They are rowing 3,000 miles across the Atlantic, of course, to raise awareness for the mental health and mental wellness of our first responders. And again, the website to find out more and to make a donation and to support that cause is row3000.com. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks so much for joining me for this KSJE Extra program. Thanks for being here. We'll see you on the radio.